Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
And welcome, special welcome to everyone that is here and to our special guests from Broadway Baptist Church and to Reverend Dr. Kevin Gardner-Sinclair, who is going to be our special speaker tonight, and to Reverend Robert Gammon, who is also here with us, and to everyone else, whether you're on YouTube or other virtual reality venues, or you're in person here. We're very excited to have you here for Interfaith Shabbat. It is not only Interfaith Shabbat, this is the Shabbat where we read the Torah portion that tells how we receive the two tablets of covenant, what are known also as the Ten Commandments. And we name every part of the Torah, every portion, with a name. And surprisingly enough, the Torah portion where we have the two tablets of covenant, the Ten Commandments, the most important part in our Torah, in our 5 books of Moses, is named after Yitro, a priest to God, but not to our God, to the God of Midian, a priest that was the father-in-law of Moses, our prophet and leader, the most important prophet and leader that we have, the giver of our Torah, that in this Torah portion coaches Moses how to run things and how to be a leader and how to be a prophet and how to be an effective leader of the people of Israel. And Moses, I have to tell you, when my father-in-law gives me advice, I am not receptive. But Moses asks him to stay and says to him, please be our eyes, showing that when it comes to interfaith relationship, even in the Torah, even in the 5 books of Moses, when we listen to each other, when we have diversity of opinions and of faiths, we just enrich our lives, our knowledge, and the way we do things. So hopefully this friendship with Broadway Baptist Church will grow and will enrich both communities. And with all that in mind, we'll begin with singing. Our first song is Hinei Matov, how good and how pleasant it is to be here together to celebrate Shabbat. The words are in your handouts. Candles and the fruit of the vine. I would like to invite Matt Weinberg to lead us with the blessings over the candles and the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu l'chalek ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
And so with these words, we bring in the light of Shabbat and the energy, and of course, the amazing love, especially that love of friendship this Shabbat as we sing our bracha, our blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Please turn to page 5 for the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
And we turn now to page 20 to welcome the Sabbath bride as we sing together Lecha Dodi.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, l'nei p'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, l'nei p'nei Shabbat nikavela. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, l'nei p'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, l'nei p'nei Shabbat nikavela. Verse 1. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Neshevu tiferet v'iti la 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 la, la lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei p'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikavela. Likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikavela. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikavela.
We rise for the Baruch Hu. The words of the Baruch Hu are here in our handouts, and also on page 28, some of them are there.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch et Adonai, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach.
We turn to page 30 in the prayer books and we read together on the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, forcefully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch Ata Adonai, Amariv Aravim.
Join us in these words expressing that changing of day to night. Roll into dark on your song sheets. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Try with me. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Here's the Hebrew. Orei yom v'layla, rolei Lord mipnei choshech, rolei Lord mipnei choshech, ve'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
And we turn to page 34 on our prayer books for the calling of the Shema. Please be seated. Please join me. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohim, amen. So, Ve'ahavta tells us about love. And it tells us It instructs us how we are to show our love for God every day. And it's really a practice in mindfulness, that as we are walking about our day, as we come back into our house, we are supposed to be serving the highest good, our highest good, the highest good of those around us, and the highest good of God. And so that there's this idea that God is always at the center of everything that we do. Of course, the idea is we're going to forget, and here's where the Jewish concept of teshuvah, of returning, comes into play, because we have a chance every time we forget, we remember, and we can return back to ourselves and back to that which is the highest good. And Torah also teaches in creation that we are made b'tselem Elohim, that we are made in the image of God, and that in each human being, regardless of race or religion or color of skin or how we identify or who we love, we are all sacred. There is something divine in each of us. And so this song was composed by Josh Nelson as an echo, as a modern expression of this idea of ve'ahavta, that we should love. The words you can find on your song sheet, and they repeat. And I hope that you enjoy praying this with me as much as I enjoy praying this. If your God is my God, and my God is everything, aren't we all part of one God? Let your God be my God, and our God be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one God. That repeats, except instead of God, it's love. If your love is my love, and my love is everything, aren't we all part of one love? Let your love be my love, and our love be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one love. Chorus. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. Verse number 3. If your heart is my heart, and my heart is everything, oh, we'll all know we're all part of one heart. Let your heart be my heart, and our heart be everything. Oh, we'll all know we're all part of one heart. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. So open up your heart to all the lost and lonely. Let no one be alone tonight before our one and only. Before our one and only. Before our one and only.
And right below it are the words for We Are Marching.
We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching
turn to the bottom of page 43 as we read together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth, for with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch Ata Adonai, הפורס סוכת שלום, עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
On the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. That repeats. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Ashkivenu, Leshalom. Me'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu L'chaim. Uferos aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
And we turn to page 44 to sing together Yismechu.
We rejoice in this song, this joy of the next 25 hours. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא, חודש שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא, חודש שבת. מקדש שבי שבת, כולם ישמחו ויתקרבו דבריך שבת. We sing. במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא, חודש שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא, חודש שבת. להשביר רצית בו וקידשת שבת. עמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, קורא
We rise as we turn to page 46 for the tefillah.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hachol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geulah libnei bneihem, Lema'an Shemo v'Yahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
And we continue on page 50 as we read together in the bottom of the page. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You cause the wind to shift and rain to fall. You sustain life through love, giving life to all. Through great compassion, supporting the falling, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up, and faithfully giving life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated as we turn to page 61 for the blessing for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, or eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
On your song sheet, this prayer for peace. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To live each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Take a moment for a silent prayer. the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing and courage and strength in our lives, in the life of everyone that is dear to us, is on page 253. As we turn to page 253, we name in our hearts those who we know that need healing and courage and strength. We think tonight about those who are hit by the horrible earthquake in Turkey and in Syria, those who are fighting day and night to rescue lives there. And as we name all those in need of healing and strength and courage, we sing together.
My pleasure to introduce our fabulous guest sermonizer tonight, guest speaker. I have had the pleasure of meeting Kevin and his wife Nora and their son Hank when I moved here this fall, and their family has become good friends with our family, and so I am tickled and delighted to have you on our bima tonight and to welcome Broadway Baptist Church and everyone. This is Reverend Dr. Kevin Gardner-Sinclair.
Thank you, Cantor Lauren, and thank you, Rabbi David, for the warm welcome, and thank you, Temple, for your warm welcome to us this evening. Sermonizer makes it sound way cooler than what we do than saying preacher, but I might start using that. I'm truly honored and grateful to be here tonight. 4.5 years ago, when my spouse Nora and I moved to Louisville, I fell immediately in love with the stories of the temple that I learned here in this community. Pretty quickly after we moved here, I was visiting the Fraser Museum downtown, our history museum. There was an order of worship on the wall from the 1960s, from when my predecessor, Duke McCall, who was at the time the president of the Southern Baptist Seminary here, back when it was a different seminary, a long, long time ago. And my predecessor, Duke McCall, had invited Dr. Martin Luther King, to speak. And the rabbi from the temple offered the benediction that day. More personally, both of my living predecessors, Ron Higdon and Chris Caldwell, were proud friends and colleagues of Rabbi Diamond and Rabbi Rappaport, respectively. In fact, one of our beloved church members and my colleague, Sarah Sanders, who I didn't know was going to be here tonight, so I'm sorry to embarrass Sarah by talking about her in the sermonizing. Sarah grew up at Broadway, serves as our financial officer on our staff team, and told me the other day about how she vividly remembers sharing the Seder in one of those moments of, and learning about Judaism in one of those interfaith dialogue moments a long time ago. So I'm grateful to be with you tonight. Not just for our past, but for our future. For your trust in us as your Christian neighbors to welcome us into your sacred space with such hospitality. And a bunch of Baptists to boot. I mean, that's really saying something. I know Louie's a Baptist, but Louie is a member of one of our sister congregations, Crescent Hill. So it's always a joy to see Louie. Well, Baptists particularly have a bad track record. When I tell strangers that I'm a Baptist and I reveal my true identity, they go, "You're a Baptist minister?" And I always say, well, Baptists range from everyone from Jerry Falwell to Dr. Martin Luther King. So there's kind of a wide range, but at Broadway, we're the kind of Baptists who are fun at weddings. You can just infer what that means, but if you catch my drift. But I'm also so grateful to be with you here tonight because interfaith relationships are so important to me, have been so formative in my faith as a Christian. I have become a more deeper devotee of Jesus because of my relationships with my Jewish friends, my Muslim friends, my Hindu friends, and even some agnostics along the road who really tested me and helped me grow. I feel like there's something about interfaith relationships that just make us better. That religious liberty is essential for us as individuals, as for communities, and for the survival of our nation if we are to be a free, flourishing, yet fragile democratic republic. Baptists have historically championed religious liberty. The Baptist Joint Committee is our advocacy partner and works with Jewish leaders, Muslim leaders, Hindu leaders, leaders from across the faith spectrum, and people with no religious identification to advocate that everyone in our nation is able to worship as they are led by their conscience. The early Baptist pastor Roger Williams called that the liberty of conscience. He founded the First Baptist Church in America. It's called First Baptist Church of America. Easy to name that congregation. It's in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island was founded as a haven for religious freedom. He once preached and told the story of ships traveling from the old world to the new world. And on those ships, they were filled with, specifically he mentioned, folks who were Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, Muslim, believers from all sorts of nations and ethnic backgrounds, religious traditions. And as was the custom on some of these ships, they were forced to worship in a Christian worship service if the captain was Christian. Roger Williams found this abhorrent. In fact, he wrote about this. He said, "Upon which supposal I affirm that all the liberty of conscience that ever I pleaded for turns upon these two hinges, that none of the papists, Catholics, Protestants, Jews, or Turks, Muslims, be forced to come to the ship's prayers or worship, nor be compelled or restrained from their own particular prayers or worship if they practice any." Juxtapose that spirit of inclusion and religious liberty in Roger Williams' day with the power structures of Puritanism in Massachusetts at the same time. Salem witch trials, you probably had to read a little Arthur Miller when you were in school. He put it even clearer when he said in his critique of this coercive, colonizing kind of Christianity, he said, "Forced worship stinks in God's nostrils." That's pretty poignant. Coerced faith is no faith at all. And the work of advocating for freedom of religion and from religion is a dream worth fighting for. So when we gather in a place like this, that is precisely what we do together. We honor each other's traditions. We honor the beauty that we all see and believe about the one Creator who made us all in God's sacred image. So tonight, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about dreams. We all have dreams. We have societal dreams for religious liberty, for all, for racial and gender justice, for peace and prosperity in all corners of our community. But we all also have personal dreams. You have dreams, I have dreams. We are all the heirs of someone else's dreams for us. Think of it this way. Someone, somewhere, dreamed that you would be precisely where you are at this moment. You still had to make your way in the world. You still had to cut your own path in the wilderness, but you are no accident. You are no afterthought for someone somewhere. There's a parent or a grandparent or a big brother or a big sister or a coach or a mentor or, dare I say, a clergy person or a teacher. You are someone's dream come true just by being who you are. My spouse Nora and I are incredibly blessed to be able to bring our toddler Hank to the ECEC here, the day school at the temple where Miss Julie and Miss Twyla and Hank's teachers, Miss Ashley and Miss Kenya, they are quite literally making our dreams come true as new parents, watching dreams come to fruition before our eyes. So if you show me a person with no dreams, I will show you a boat with no rudder. Dreams direct us. They are a destination worth chasing. Dreams remind us why we got out of bed in the first place, why we showed up at the shoal tonight, why we went to work earlier this day, why we continue to care for that loved one who's in need, why we take a moment on a night like this to be given the gift of Shabbat. A moment of peace and rest in an exhausting and an exhausted world that just won't sit still. So you have dreams. I have dreams. This much is true. But what happens when our dreams overlap with each other and with God? The prophet Isaiah bears witness to God's dreams for this world. Prophets have a way of diagnosing the present to point us towards a brighter future. Isaiah begins in chapter 1 of his book with this scathing sermon on which of what the injustice he saw in his country, the treatment of the poor, of widows, of orphans, of immigrants, of oppressed people. But then he turns in Isaiah 2, this prophetic pointed tone turns towards an open-hearted and open-handed invitation to see the world with God's eyes in the next chapter, where he proclaims, which will be the text I'll be speaking to you from this evening. Isaiah chapter 2, starting in verse 1. The word that Isaiah son of Amoz saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In days to come, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and shall be raised above the hills, and all the nations shall stream to it. Many peoples shall come and say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth instruction, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He shall judge between the nations, and shall arbitrate for many peoples. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, shall beat their spears into pruning hooks. Neither shall they learn war anymore. O house of Jacob, come, let us walk in the light of the Lord." This is the word of God for the people of God. There is something about this prophetic dream that Isaiah casts over the people that gives us a glimpse into God's dreams for us today. That the God of Abraham and Sarah, of Isaac and Jacob, will make a home among mortals in the temple where all people from all places will gather together to transform their weapons of warfare into tools of transformation. Isaiah portrays God as the judge who arbitrates fairly and justly. The Hebrew word there for arbitrate, and I'm going to have Cantor Lauren and Rabbi David help me pronounce this, Yachah, I believe, is translated to reason, to decide, to adjudicate, or my favorite translation I found, to umpire. Just imagine God. There's an image for you to think about. But like a courtroom drama, not that any of you fine people watch Judge Judy and daytime television like that, of course, but like a courtroom scene where plaintiffs and defendants gather together to air their grievances, but instead of coming to blows like a bunch of rowdy ball players, all offended parties hear the ruling of the judge, and they not only agree on the terms and lay down their arms, but they melt their swords and hammer them into farming equipment. They take spears that would be used to plunge into the hearts of their enemies, and instead they forge them into vineyard tools to make sweet wine instead of bitter war. This is Isaiah's very own I Have a Dream speech proclaimed in the heart of the Holy Land millennia before Dr. King marched on Washington. So imagine a world where no child goes to bed hungry. Imagine a world where every community of faith gathers to worship freely without fear. Imagine a world where every human being from every race, faith, and place in the world can work, live, and love with liberty and justice for all. It's not just an American dream. That's a divine dream. It is a prophetic dream. And Isaiah paints with his words this vision of God's dream of the world. In 2019, Ahmed Shahid, the United Nations Special Reporter on Religious Freedom and Belief, identified in his report a troubling statistic. It was that over the past few years, this rapid rise of anti-Semitism, of violent extremism, was deeply troubling at a global level, and he used this phrase that just caught my ear when I heard his interview. He said, anti-Semitism is the canary in the coal mine of global hatred. There's too much hate and pain in the world, my friends. There's too much misunderstanding. There's too many moments where we refuse to, as the great mystic Martin Buber says, look at the you and see the person across from us, the I and the thou, the I and you, to see each other through God's eyes. My favorite Christian theologian is named Jürgen Moltmann. Moltmann has a wonderful story about being in conversation with a rabbi friend of his, and they're talking about they were talking about Buber's teaching on the Messiah. That Martin Buber said that the concept of Messiah was a truly unique contribution to the world of religion, specifically within Judaism. That outside of Judaism, this was the first place with this idea of God's anointed coming into the world. And Moltmann's friend, who is a rabbi, said to him, he said, you know, Jürgen, this is the difference between Christians and us Jewish folks. He said, you believe that Jesus is the Messiah, that he came, that he died on a cross, that he was resurrected from the dead, and that the kingdom of heaven is on earth, that he's bringing the kingdom on earth as it is in heaven, as you pray in your Lord's Prayer. You see the world for what it could be. And he said, but Jürgen, we see the world for what it is. The Messiah, we still wait. We still do the work of Tikkun Olam, to repair the world, which Lauren will be talking about on Sunday with us. But he told Jürgen that those are two sides of the same coin. That we need both sides of those pictures. We need both the hope and the reality. That we need each other. We need each other's stories. Because together, we can transform the world for good and for God as we dream God's dreams over this place that we all call home. May it be so, friends. May it be so. Amen.
It's hard to follow that up with a piece of music. It's really a pleasure to have this opportunity to sing with the Chancel Choir from Broadway Baptist Church and to make music together. Music is that universal language that brings each of us together, and that's that moment of tikkun olam, that repairing the world that brings a sense of wholeness and completeness and peace. And so this piece that we're going to sing, you'll find on your song sheet in Shir Chadash. Our choir introduced me to it, and I just fell in love with it because it really truly talks about that dream that Kevin talked so profoundly about.
Everyone born, clean water and bread.
We turn to page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially Jose Maza, Henry Berg Brousseau, Celia Idex, Isaac Privloda, Harry Smith, Vera Weinstein, Pauline Zimmerman, Shirley Barron, Boris Heller, Eileen Schwab, Frida Weinstock, Marlene Weisberg, Helen R. Better, Eileen Breyer, Rosalind Feldman, William Radigan, Michael Alexander, Elizabeth Traeger-Baum, Nancy Cunningham, David Friedlander, Richard Green, Florence Katz, Ethel Levy, Shirley Waldman, Bess Braun, June Coleman, Olwyn Fass, Arnold Fox, Selwyn Garmon, Phyllis Harrow, Leon Levy, Ida Cohen, Jeanette Feynman Gadi, Bob Green, Martin Schiffman, Connie Allen, Gladys Bass, Tina Warschau Novik, Herbert Marks, Judy Marks, Herman Neiber, Bernard Traeger, and in recent days, William Struck, and Jean Golf. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. With the blessed memories of our loved ones in our hearts, we rise as we turn to page 294 to say together the mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלל שמי דקודשה בריחי. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה, may the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction to us all. Amen. Our closing song is on page 353, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו.
On the bottom. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, ויום כולם again. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, ויום כולם שלום עלינו ויום כולם שלום 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 עלינו Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam. Aleinu ve'al kolam. Salam. Shalom. Salam. Aleinu ve'al kolam. Salam. Shalom. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Oh Shabbat Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you again for our wonderful speaker and for the wonderful guests that we had here. We hope to see you here many more times in the future and to visit your church. Everyone is still invited for the wonderful good baked goods of the Women of Reform Judaism. And please say Shabbat Shalom to someone you never met before. Shabbat Shalom.